Call to order this August 15th meeting of the Planning Commission. Anyone have any additions to the agenda?
I have just one. I
Yes,
guess
sir.
you could call it whole business, but I think that we owe Sandy some kudos there for her big breakfast on Sunday.
Oh, the food hub.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. And you made how many farmers whole?
I don't know. There were probably over 150 people that came.
Holy
wow.
cow, nice
Yeah.
That's
job.
awesome.
And it was tasty.
It was tasty. There were donations from different farms. And when you hear people say, "Oh, that's really good. Where was that from? I gotta go there." That's like, yes,
Yeah.
that's the goal, you know.
That's awesome. Congrats.
Yeah.
I would like to make a motion the Planning Commission send official kudos to Sandy.
All right.
Second.
All in favor?
How does that work?
It's been done. It's in the book, Sandy, forever.
It's on your record. I got one I
Yeah.
was curious about. How does everybody feel about revisiting that local sales tax?
Ah.
I mean, I was always a fan of it, so I'm super biased. And so I pay my wife's sales tax on V-Tax for her flower farm. And literally every time I log on there, there's another town where the list of towns just keeps growing for local option tax. It's like everybody has it. That's an exaggeration, but the list is like huge now, right? And you have to check if you're in one of those towns, which is why the list is there. But yeah, everyone's doing it. I mean, every time I log on, there's another town that's passed the local option tax.
How's everybody else feel about it?
So what's the limits on it? Was it 1% or something?
1%.
Yeah.
And the state administers it. They take
A piece.
30%.
Yeah, something like that.
So they administer it. They don't have to do anything in here. I think they have to change the charter. Is that correct?
Brad says we have to change the charter.
So I don't know what that entails, but if it generates income for the town, $10,000 or $20,000 a year, I mean,
It's free money, basically, right?
yeah, does anybody, and it's not going to affect anybody. Somebody's not going to rent a VRBO or whatever here, or Airbnb, because they have to pay an extra 1%. It's just tacked on to the sales tax to begin with.
So it wouldn't be everything, it would just be these temporary.
Well, we
housing?
could make it everything like Williston does, or Stowe. They have the local rooms and meals tax. I mean, you could tax 1% on just a couple of businesses in town too, which would probably generate quite a bit more when you think about what their sales are, the few businesses in town.
We were just proposing the rooms and meals, though. What we
What's that?
proposed originally, you're 100% right. I mean, what we proposed originally, though, was essentially just a tax on tourists. It was 1% more on lodging, which is short-term rentals in Underhill.
Yeah. So
Well, when it was calculated, it wasn't gonna be very
It's like
much.
10 or 15 grand a year.
Was it?
if you go online and you look at all the Airbnbs, maybe there are 25, and say each one produces 40,000 or 30,000 in revenue, just as based on, we used to have one, and the possibility. So if you think about that, that's probably only less than $1 million, more than 500,000, right? So it would be 1%.
It's maybe like $8,000-9,000.
Yeah, and who knows? And also, would we want to extend it to the other businesses in town? Because if you think about, there are some businesses that pay sales tax. So would we want to add 1% onto them also? Because I think we could, like that's what Williston does.
Yeah.
And other towns do that. I don't know how many of them just make it specific to short-term rentals, and how many of them do any type of business that pays sales tax. So
I could log into V-Tax and just see it, because again, when I go on and do my wife's, it's clear who charges what. So it's a big list of cities now. I mean, it's
Well, I would prefer to
Couple
keep
dozen.
it to the Airbnbs, not,
no, they don't pay anymore because they already pay sales tax for the state. They already pay 6%. So or
yeah, I'd
whatever.
say keep it to them, tax them.
David say no
Airbnb,
tax the other
But not
businesses.
tax people like Chamberlain Well, Phil's auto.
Right.
You're just taxing yourself at that point, another 1%, which already getting taxed enough, I think.
It's what now?
Then you're just getting taxed another 1% if you buy stuff locally, if you're a resident.
Yeah, it's discouraging you to.
Right, because
use
other
local, right?
people don't come in here to buy stuff like in Williston.
Right.
That's sort of,
That's
I agree that the only people buying stuff here, because of the few businesses we have, are probably locals.
Uh-huh.
Whereas in Williston, if you put on a 1% tax, you're taxing everyone who comes into Williston shop, which is a lot of people.
Right.
I can
So-
agree with you.
So you would just be comfortable with doing the short-term rental tax? Yeah.
Yeah.
1%. Is everybody?
I'd like to make a motion to that.
So here, I would suggest this for the motion, if you don't mind. I think because of all the work we did on it last time, I think, curious for everyone's thought, I think we're asking Brad for like, either for Brad to take it to the select board or for one of us, I don't mind doing it, to go to the select board, or if someone else wants to do it, great, to go to the select board and say like, what do you guys think of this idea? Before we do any more, I mean,
Right,
we've already
yeah.
done the work.
No, I
right?
agree.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so just put it out there to the select board, probably if we were just to email Brad and the select board.
Yeah.
The information that we feel, we all
Okay.
agree that we would all
Yeah.
agree that, I mean, I don't,
We think they should revisit this process, basically.
yeah, revisit the local tax on short-term rentals,
Okay.
1%.
Well, we could say that we recommend it.
We recommend it.
Yeah, right.
Be positive about it.
Okay.
So,
We recommend they, well, I'll get the wording right later, doesn't matter. They revisit the local option tax. Okay.
yeah.
All right.
I don't even know if they ever did, but. I don't know.
Well, not just revisit it, but
Pass it.
that we would.
Implement.
Implement.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
implement.
And-
Okay. Is that the, okay. So
And
that's the
that
motion.
everybody on the board agrees that it's a good idea or whatever, so,
Okay.
yeah, something like that.
Everyone good with that?
Yeah,
Is that your motion, Sandy?
Yes, that's my motion.
That we recommend that to the select board that they implement the local option tax? Okay. Is there a second? Tim, all in favor?
Aye.
Awesome. Look at that. Man,
That was,
we're just doing business like crazy.
we're going over the time limit though.
All right, that takes us to the August 1st minutes. Does anyone have any comments or questions?
No.
You do?
There was one,
Okay, well, we
oh,
can fix it.
it's minor.
No, that's all right, we can
It
fix
was
it.
a different interpretation.
I can make the comment in the written thing here and pass it with the
Do you
correction.
have the written one?
Yeah, here you go.
Oh, I'm not gonna be able to find it. It doesn't matter.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well then I will make a motion to approve the Thursday, August 1st minutes. Second? Second. Roy, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thanks everyone. That takes us to,
We have Boris and.
Oh,
no, they didn't join.
Huh.
I don't know, they didn't join, so, no.
We have a quorum.
Yeah, we're good, I counted, even with Tim.
Oh, and
Tim couldn't vote, but we still have 5.
then Jeff is,
Jeff is out of town.
he's out.
He's visiting family or something, he emailed me. That takes us to Sandy and then David. So you were just gonna give us a brief update on the
I
transportation.
know, why don't we, if it's okay with everyone, we skip that and make sure we get the other things? Because I
Yep.
think my updates are sort of ongoing and I
So-
don't want
Should I put it on the next agenda?
to. Sure.
Okay. Which takes us to David.
Okay.
Does everyone have their, first not to interrupt, but does everyone have, because otherwise I can photocopy a few. Does everyone have David's printed
You got that
changes?
last time?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Do you have it too? draft ADU language, or is that the
I
meeting
need-
you missed?
I need,
I don't think it has that.
Okay, you need one?
yeah.
Bart, you've got it?
Yeah.
A
Okay,
copy of the,
Roy, you got it?
I don't know.
Accessory.
I don't know what I got in
dwelling
here.
1, 2, 3. I'm gonna make 3 copies.
Okay, thanks.
Probably do. Did you give it last time?
2 meetings ago.
No, I wasn't here for that one, so I need one.
I'm gonna
Accessory
make you a
dwellings, that
copy,
one?
Bart.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, you got it?
Yep.
Okay. Oh my gosh, Inoki, you are huge.
Don't mess with me.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot my original. Sorry. I'm saying, can you pass me? You can start, David. Sorry.
Okay, so this is response on the DRB study session topics, dealing with accessory dwellings with the questions 1 through 8. So first question had to do with terminology confusion. And the question there was, we use the terms accessory dwellings, accessory buildings, accessory structures. So to clarify that, I'll just read what I have for number 1.
Excuse me, David.
Yes.
David is reading off something that's different than what we're reading off.
That's, yeah, definitely. This is my accessory dwelling submission.
Did I copy the wrong thing?
So that's not it.
What did I, oh, I photocopied the wrong thing?
So it's my draft 620 or 630.
Oops. I might not have it either.
Yeah?
Does Bart have the right one?
I've
I
got
might have forgotten it.
6:30.
Yeah.
Let me make photocopies of that. Sorry, guys. You've got, all right, sorry. 1, 2,
This
1.
one's, is this an older one that we don't need? This one?
No, that's a thing. Can you see, this is,
Does
yeah,
Bart need one?
this is what I'm,
Bart has the right
that's
one?
it.
Okay.
Yeah, this,
All right. we'll make
yeah, you
photocopies.
gave me the right one.
This is
That's
it?
not it, no.
Oh,
Well, it has my name on it and draft
okay.
date.
Wonder what this is.
Hmm.
It's for review by the town council.
I
Well,
grabbed
that may
one
be
thing
something
here.
from Brian.
Oh, you know what? That's part of the memo, I think, that we sent to the lawyer. I grabbed the wrong sheet of paper when I left the house.
Okay.
All right, there we go.
Yeah.
All right, David, sorry about
Okay,
that.
now I need a copy.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, whose copy did I?
I got it.
You need one.
I don't.
There's extra. I think there's an extra. I think there's
Well,
an
we got a lot
extra.
of paper going on here.
Okay.
Running,
Now we shuffle things around a little bit.
running seamlessly as always.
You want first?
Put that in the recycle pile.
Okay, questions, accessory dwellings, and Penny noted some questions on accessory dwellings 1 through 8. So the first one has to do with terminology confusion, accessory dwellings, accessory dwelling, buildings, accessory structures. So, the term accessory structures is not defined, but structure is defined and includes everything from a fence to a palace. So it may be helpful to include in the definition section the term structures accessory. This is to be added, I'm suggesting adding this to our definitions.
Mhm.
Structures, accessory, a structure appurtenant to the primary building. See appurtenant to. Okay? Appurtenant to. As the term is unfamiliar to all except lawyers, it could be included in the definition section as appurtenant to, subordinate to, size not considered. Okay, those are the first 2 points from Penny. Any comments or questions?
I have one.
Yep.
So this, an accessory structure is a garage, a barn, a shed, a fence, a pool,
Yeah.
and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So we should pull out of that accessory buildings. Because when you go into the chart for accessory structures, the setback chart, they have setbacks for garages and barns and sheds and that sort of thing, right? But a fence would be a different setback. So can we come up with a different term or just make an accessory structure to include garages, barns, sheds, period.
Accessory structures, it isn't defined, and structures is.
Yeah, but
That means everything.
accessory structure could be a fence.
Accessory structures, that would be everything also. It's a little confusing.
It is. So when you go into the chart for the setbacks, at the beginning in the bylaws there,
Yeah.
they just say accessory structure, sideline, back, rear line, front line,
Yeah.
etc. It's different for each part of town. So should we make barns, garages, and buildings separate from an accessory structure would be fences? You know what I'm saying?
I
Yes,
do.
right. Yeah, this should follow, these would answer just these questions. And then once we get these settled, then I think we'd go back and go through, and where does it apply here
Yeah.
and there and so on. And try and, clarify.
But does everybody understand what I'm saying?
I do, and I agree. I think we should pull out buildings from structures because it is different.
Maybe we should go accessory dwelling units and
I think
buildings or.
I think a building is defined somewhere in there.
Yeah, but okay, just look at the
Just
chart
as
here, right?
Something that has a roof over it.
Isn't this a pretty significant, not your change, David, isn't what you're saying, Roy, a pretty significant change? Only in the sense, I don't mean like substantively, but these terms are used in a ton of places. So I think we need to be really careful.
Because we have to go through everything.
Because I think it
Yeah, that's what I
affects
ran
a
into.
ton
I
of
was thinking
stuff.
about that. I started off on that direction, then it seemed
Yeah.
like there was an awful lot of changes that have to be made.
Well, anyway, just if we could just look at the
Yeah, no,
that
it's,
chart. I don't know what pages it's on. It's
I
the
know.
chart that
Separate.
I know what you're talking about.
it's and if we could just look at that and see, so we understand what.
Yeah, you mean the district summary table?
Yeah, like
Sammy's right at
setbacks. Yeah. Okay, so accessory, principal and accessory.
What page is it on?
Page
It's
7.
It's so accessory, front, side, and rear setbacks. So, I don't think anybody's ever going to use this, but right now we don't even have accessory
Are you saying-
dwelling unit.
Are you saying it makes it sound like a fence has to be set back 15 feet?
Yeah. You know what I mean? But that's ridiculous. So, but I don't know how we would.
I wonder if like fences is carved out of that somehow when you look at page 34.
Huh.
That seems like an obvious thing, so it's a weird mistake.
Yeah,
Page
what is the current definition?
It says 34, but it's actually 33.
But then again,
Oh, here you go. They address it like in the first line. Fences and walls are not required to meet minimum district front, side, and rear
Oh,
setback.
okay.
Right.
Good
I was gonna
enough.
say, it's too big a mistake
Yeah.
for them not to have thought about
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
How about pool, like a pool? That would have to meet the set.
Pool has to meet the
Meet the
setback.
setback.
I have a question about David's definition, which is way smaller. Should structure be capitalized in there, David? In structures accessory, a capital S structure? Because are structures accessory include everything that's in structure or no?
Well, the way the definitions do it, the term that is being defined, it would be structures with a capital S, comma, accessory with a capital A. That's the format in the,
No, in the actual definition where it says structures, comma, accessory, a structure appurtenant to the primary building,
Yeah.
I'm saying should it be structures, comma, accessory, a capital S structure? Are you meaning to use the capitalized definition of structure there? Like, is an accessory structure a structure as a structure is defined that is appurtenant to the primary building?
I don't see what, Are you referring to what I am?
Yeah, I'm referring to what you wrote. So
Yeah.
like, in the last line of what you wrote, like the last line of number
Number
one,
one?
should that be capital S structure?
I don't think so.
Is that number one you're referring to?
Yeah, number one.
Yeah, no, the actual defining word should not be capitalized.
Yeah, it's not a title, it's just a definition.
But are we intending to use the definition of structure?
Yeah.
Are you meaning to pull in this definition? Is it a structure as defined here, structure? I'm not trying to be overly lawyerly about it, but,
Oh,
so
no.
if you look at page 210.
Yeah.
The definition of structure that you mentioned.
That's two.
Okay. So in your number one,
Mhm.
when you propose a new term, structures, comma, accessory,
Mhm.
and then you say a structure appurtenant to the primary building.
Mhm.
When you're referring to a structure, do you mean refer to this structure, like a structure meaning this structure, or any structure? Because if you're trying to use this definition for structure, we should capitalize it. If you just mean a general structure, any kind of structure.
No, it's we've got the definition of structure in general.
Right, which you're-
That includes everything. So the next definition would be structures accessory, it would be
Which would be any structure of this kind that's appurtenant to a primary dwelling, or pertinent to a primary building.
yeah.
Okay, got it. So it should be a capital S. The
Wow.
owner's gonna change it to a capital S.
No, wait a minute.
Yeah, when you use a defined term,
Yes.
you have to capitalize it. And structure is a defined term, capital S structure, unless you don't want to use that. But they're two very different things. You see what I'm saying? Like if you look in the rules, any place a defined term is used, it's capitalized, right?
Okay,
You mean, back in the text itself?
Anywhere, yeah. Whenever you refer to a defined term, it's capitalized.
I'm looking through the general definitions, I don't see any capitalizations of anything beyond
I'm not
the.
sure that's correct, like site disturbance.
Sure, like look at street just above it. If it's not, it's a mistake. If you look at street just above it, you see what it says? It says C road.
Yeah.
And it's a capital R, because it's referring to the definition of road. See back? Road. So whenever you refer to a defined term, it's supposed to be capitalized.
Yeah, okay.
Whether that was a mistake or not is a separate issue. But here's another one. Go back to page 208, right of way.
No, I see.
At the very end, it says see also road, capital R.
Okay.
Or if you look down at road, it says see also driveway, capital D.
wow.
Road
Yeah.
development, see also road,
Got your
driveway.
point, got your point.
Yeah,
I get it.
yeah. I just wanted people to be
Superb.
convinced.
No, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Brian.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
good.
Okay, but that is what you meant to do, right?
Well, I think it should be.
Okay, yep. Because otherwise, we're saying structure meaning any structure in the world, not how it's defined.
Well,
Okay.
I think we should stick with what we have defined here.
Gotcha.
not Branch off with.
Yeah, yeah.
something else.
Okay, I got you.
Okay, very good. The structure.
Are you good with your comment, Ryan?
My comment?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm moving on to number 3 here.
Oh,
It's the
okay.
setbacks.
Number 2?
Well,
Or
we
three?
good?
We're still
Are
on-
we
wait,
okay
we're-
with a pertinent 2?
Yeah, this has been an ongoing, everyone
Yeah.
asking what
Yeah,
the
just
hell.
I already know, I know what it
Definition in
means
there.
now, so,
Yeah.
I'm good with it.
yeah. But like-
Okay, setbacks. All right, I'll just read this. I've forgotten what I said. Anyway, the BSA states that an ADU may be required to follow the regulations for a primary dwelling. Aha, now wait a minute. We've just been reading through our regulations here, and if you'll notice, you have a copy probably. On E, it says, a bylaw shall require a single-family dwelling with an accessory dwelling unit to be subject to the same review, dimensional, or other controls as required for a single-family dwelling without an accessory dwelling unit. shall.
Yeah, but this, how about a detached?
Yeah.
Accessory
Different.
dwelling
That's a little
unit.
different. That's a little different. So,
Okay.
so
Hey,
then you
David,
drop
what are you,
down, you
what are
drop
you
down
looking,
to.
what are you looking at so I can follow along with you? Sorry. What,
Okay, I'm
what,
looking at, the second page of,
the second page?
yeah,
Okay.
right.
Okay.
So it's E.
E, okay.
So this is a little
Gotcha,
confusing. Okay, it says shall require there. And then you drop down to F1, and it says a bylaw that is less restrictive of accessory dwelling units. That's allowed.
Nothing
in one
each.
He's on the actual BSA.
Oh, okay. I got
Yeah.
you. All right.
Yeah.
I'm not-
Yeah, it says, nothing in subsection 1E of this section shall be construed to prohibit a bylaw that is less restrictive of accessory dwelling units. So it says above shall be, or shall require it to be the same. And here it says, no, you can,
Do what you want.
yeah, right.
No, you know what I think they're saying? Sorry.
Yep.
I agree it's bad drafting, by the way, for the record.
Right.
In case the Vermont legislature is listening. But I think what they're trying to say is like, point, at the risk of pointing out the obvious, sorry. I think, let me give an example. You could make it subject to less review.
I
If
think
you,
what they're saying.
if you wanted to have no review for an ADU and require review for a house, you could do that, but you can't require the ADU have more review than the house. If you want to be even more lax on the ADU than the house, no problem, but you can make it more. I think that's what they did a bad job.
No, it says, a bylaw shall require a single-family dwelling with an accessory.
To be subject to
unit
the
be subject to
same-
the same
yeah.
review.
It's bad
I think-
drafting.
I think what
agree
they're,
with you.
I think what they're getting at here is trying to distinguish, or make sure that it's not a loophole for, a duplex or something. You know, if somebody's coming in for a permit for a house that's not built yet with an accessory part of it, then I think it's saying that that has to be that has to be subject
Oh,
to the
that
same
makes
review.
Could be,
Yeah.
could be.
Yeah.
But if you're adding it on later,
Yeah.
then you can be less restrictive.
Right, if you're adding it on or dividing your house in a way later, then you could be less restrictive. I think
It
that's
is,
what they're
it
saying.
is interesting that they then go on to say in F2,
Yeah.
take a little shot at short-term rentals there.
Oh,
In
yeah.
F2.
All right, all right. Okay, well, I think that's what brought the confusion in on that issue there, so.
Yeah, you're right, it's shall, not may, so.
Yeah, but it's farther on. It says, nothing in subdivision 1E of this section shall be construed to prohibit, one, a bylaw that is less restrictive of accessory dwelling units. That's a little more positive, I think, than the other saying, referring to same review, dimensional, or other controls. It's sort of vague. Maybe not, but it seems a little vaguer than where it says, nothing in this section shall be construed to prohibit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that includes whatever is said. So, okay. Okay, so what I've got here is, the VSA states that an ADU may be required to follow regulations for a primary dwelling. See, I looked at that, it may be, but
That's misleading.
yeah.
Maybe, like, that's pretty
Yeah.
vague, like, oh, you may do that, but you don't have to.
Well, I know, but that's what it's saying here. When a bylaw that is less restrictive, that's okay.
Yeah, that's a,
So
that's a good,
So this is may be required to follow the same review, dimensional order controls as required from for a single family dwelling.
Can I interrupt you?
Yes, yeah.
It seems like to me, what you've read there and Brian has said, that if we clear up the language to say, new homes with ADUs attached shall
Yeah.
require the same setbacks, et cetera. Whereas,
but if it's
80.
attached, but if it's detached, it'll follow the setbacks for an accessory structure. if you have a detached ADU, and it's over there like 200 feet away, it only had, the setback can be less. Is that right? Is that how that's how they deal with it right now?
This is what Sandy was saying. That Sandy
Yeah,
was-
all I'm saying is you're building a new home
Yeah.
with an ADU, then you got to follow the rules for a primary dwelling, setbacks, everything.
Right.
But if you have an existing home and you're building an ADU, then you can be more lenient.
You're saying that's how it should be in your opinion, or you're saying that,
I think that's what they're saying there.
I think it was too.
you're saying that's what they're saying here?
I think so.
And that's to David's point about getting around the duplex rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're building a house and you want to put an ADU in it, you're starting from ground zero, you would have to get a proper site plan done to present to the zoning administrator, showing the house and then the ADU, and showing that you have the correct septic design for the extra bedroom that's in the ADU and all that.
Right.
But if you have a house and you want to build an ADU in your garage versus an ADU 100 feet away. So,
And that garage doesn't have, is closer to
ground
the
already.
line. Yeah,
yeah,
it's already
the
there.
attached garage is already meets the setbacks for the dwelling,
Right.
right? Is that,
But maybe the garage meets the setback for the garage.
Yes.
Not-
well, no, if you have an attached garage, that attached garage has to meet the setback for the dwelling.
I think so.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
So it's really
Yeah.
the detached.
yeah, the
existing.
detached, yeah. If you wanted to build a brand new house and a brand new detached accessory dwelling unit, the detached accessory dwelling unit would have the lesser setback. You
Well,
know?
no, I deal with that here. It,
Okay, yes, I see that, but
it
you
said-
said a conditional use there, right? Is that,
Yeah,
you were
right.
trying to get away from that.
Well, this is the situation that, if the accessory dwellings have to follow the general regulations for primary. And so if you have the accessory,
Septic and water, basically. But the setbacks are less typically for an accessory structure. Right now, for an accessory dwelling unit, the setbacks are the same as they are for an accessory structure, the garage. If you build a garage, if you look at the chart here,
Yeah.
the accessory structure is a garage. The setbacks are less than they are for the principal dwelling.
right.
So if you build an ADU, they should follow the same setback.
Well,
lesser.
not necessarily.
Well, that's something we need to discuss.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get at here.
Yeah.
It's going to be closer to the sideline. And so in some situations, that may be objectionable to a neighbor that's next door. You might not want to have a accessory dwelling unit as close as that. And so how do we get around that? Well, a conditional use would allow for that, allow for relaxing the rules that are required for a primary.
I don't think we should go the conditional use route because the DRB wants us to get away from the conditional uses.
I know, but there are circumstances where it's a good idea to have them.
Yeah, I mean, right now, it works with the setbacks the way it is. I mean, people have done it a few times that I can think of. So
Would have done, made an ADU.
it's closer to
In
the
a
side.
garage that's would be conforming ordinarily.
Yeah, I mean, I could think of one that I built and another one that was built that's pretty close to the property line, but within the setback. And then you come into the other issue of, okay, you have an existing structure, an existing detached garage that you want to turn into an ADU. That could already, this just gets too clouded. It could already, that would have been built with the lesser setback. Do you understand that?
If you go ahead and want to build a structure for an ADU,
It's already built. You already have this garage that's 30 feet from the sideline, whereas the house is 50 feet from the sideline. So, and you want to put an ADU in that existing structure,
Right.
you're gonna tell that person they can't do it because needs to follow, or they have to get a conditional use permit to do that, which is gonna
Yeah.
cost them $1,000 or $500 or whatever they cost.
Yeah.
I
Well,
guess that's a,
that's an issue to debate. I
Which
guess.
that could be, if that was just a fancy storage shed that could be made into an apartment, into
Yeah.
an ADU, and that was previously close to the property line, you're saying
Right.
that should be exempt, that you should be able to
yeah,
convert that.
I personally think that we should stick with an accessory structure and an accessory dwelling unit have the same setbacks, which are typically, if you look at the chart, less than the primary residence.
Now, if a person wants to build an accessory structure for an accessory dwelling.
Yeah.
Well, he's gonna go to the building, to get a building permit. He'd be required at that point to build it 50 feet away from the boundary, not the 20 feet.
That's what you're proposing.
No, that's what it
Oh.
would be. I mean, if you come in.
No, it's not. No, if you
Well,
came
if
in
you come
now,
in asking for a structure with an accessory dwelling unit in it, that's what you're asking for in a permit, then you're asking for the dwelling unit.
a detached dwelling.
Yeah,
So you're
Right.
talking about a detached ADU.
right.
That has a lesser setback than the house, right?
Well, the rules say that the accessory dwelling has to follow the rules of a primary
Well,
dwelling.
it says here, may, if that's true.
Well, it says may, I know, but.
So what's
but
that mean?
We've modified it in some respects, and this is a modification. The conditional permit is a modification of that. And there may be another modification when it comes to number of dwellings on a road. But that's another issue.
Yeah.
But,
So what would affect the conditional use on that? It seems like it'd be pretty arbitrary.
Hmm?
What would affect the conditional use of that being considered if it was a non-conforming setback?
what would be,
How would that be decided whether you could do it or not? If
well,
if it was vague.
it would go before the Development Review Board. They'd review the issue basically, see if there's any reason why they think the ADU should not be as close to the border, as the accessory structure. Maybe neighbors might say, no, I really don't want to have it that close. So,
I think we should stay away, personally, think we should stay away from the conditional use issue because it makes it more expensive for the homeowner and it also makes more work for the DRB. If we can just decide what the setback should be, then maybe we should just go around the table and see what everybody
well,
thinks
wait a
about the
minute,
setback.
but still, you have this issue, if somebody comes in and said, okay, I want to build a structure for an accessory dwelling unit. And the zoning administrator at that point would have to say, well, it follows, unless we say, if the structure is, you can build a structure for an ADU as close as any structure other than a primary dwelling.
Yeah.
And if we allow for that, we could do it. We could do it that way.
Yeah. I mean, that really, if you
So how
start
many
going back to
setbacks? How
the,
many setbacks? We've got-
yeah, look at the setback chart.
In the
not sure.
village, we've got,
I think Roy's right.
I think we've already talked about this.
Yeah, we have.
and
I have to
We
pull up the
decided
memo.
we wanted to
Go with
keep it,
accessory.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that it's well-defined, so the DRB doesn't have to pull in neighbors
Yeah.
for their comments.
I don't have my computer with.
We also, we talked about detached and how far away.
Yeah, this
they
is all
need to
covered in
be.
the other version.
I
Yeah.
I think we covered that, and I
I do
don't
too.
know why, maybe these confusions are because they haven't really.
Well, they haven't seen the new ones. Well, maybe we skip, are you suggesting we can skip 3, Sandy? David, are you opposed to that?
No,
Should we all be-
I'm not opposed necessarily to what you're saying, Roy, and if that's, I can go along with that. just trying to put together, something that's consistent here.
But,
And,
but what,
but we can work it out so that, it will be consistent that way, the way we
Yeah.
like to do it.
The table on page 7, it does show a different setback for an accessory than the principal.
Yeah.
right. And to me, it seems like we should stick with that for the ADU too. It should have the
But
same.
we changed that. We changed it so the principal and the accessory are both the same, but lower than what's there.
The problem is these changes are in the copy that we worked through previously that I gave Nick and that Brad now has, which I don't know where it is. So I'm wondering if we don't skip 3 and circle back to it, because we also wrote a memo to the select board that may have this in it, but I do not have my computer.
Well, I can go over this. I'm not opposed to having it, to going ahead with allowing the ADU in a structure that's right next to the, within the,
Yeah.
what you're saying, the structure basically.
Right.
Setback rather than a primary dwelling setback.
Right.
So, I can rewrite that.
Before you even do that, David, I think we, to Sandy's point, just so you're not spending time doing work we already did, I think we could have done this.
I think we
before
did.
in the last go through, so let me find it. And then
Okay.
I'm sure you have lots of stuff you'd rather do than write this, so
Yeah, right.
let me find the old one.
I'm pretty sure we did stick with the same setbacks.
I don't know.
I don't remember, but I know we did a lot of work on ADUs, so let's get this old version, which Brad has to have because I gave it to Nick.
Oh, I have a copy of what I did some time ago. Really, that was this draft, basically, of, back September 23.
Yeah.
Do you want to review that and get back to us next time?
Yeah,
So
I
we can-
would.
Well, and we're gonna try to
I
find
think I think I made it consistent with what we have here, basically.
Yeah, okay.
So, but to do it the way you would like to do it, that may mean changing this also in some way. But, that's okay.
I'm gonna stop in and see Brad too and get this previous version of the master copy, which Nick had and Brad should have, which has the ADU stuff. So.
Okay, I'll look this over and just try and, I would like to make it consistent anyway.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
Look at it that way, look at it your way and see how that comes out. Okay, so put number 3 on revised. So, okay, ready to move on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so, DRB, study, number 4, which is what is the topic being referred to number 4? These are, the blue, sections. What is it? Number 4, contiguous land. Contiguous land is in the definitions, if there are no reference in the regulations. Is that the one? Oh, no, wait a minute. Excuse me.
You're on a different.
Yeah, 1 through 8 is in the 3rd column, basically. The other numbers out on the left-hand side, that's a different set of numbers. So, as you look at the accessory dwellings, number 4 says 2020 amendment. How does it affect Underhill regulations? Intent, where does it reside now? Future. Now, I'm not sure what you're referring to here. The 2020 amendment, and how does that affect our regulations? Well, I don't know what the whole 2020 amendment was.
I don't know either.
You're on this, what number are
He's
you on that
pennies,
chart?
yeah.
Right here, basically.
No, it's,
It's inside here. It says
Accessory
2020
dwellings.
amendment.
okay,
No, here it is. It's over
Oh.
there.
okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
So I don't know what the 2020 amendment all amounted to, and how does that affect? So I don't know. I came up blank on that one.
Maybe we skip that one.
Wait, which one now? The 2020 amendment, how does it affect?
No.
I don't know.
And where does it reside now?
I don't know what that means either. We didn't do any amendments.
Amendment to the bylaws, is that?
Yeah, well, an amendment to the bylaw.
Well, we should get, yes.
In 2020, we were doing the town plan. And we weren't doing the
Which, what does it say on your copy? No. Yeah, there was some sort of change in
in March
2020.
2020.
I have the old one, so I don't know.
Yeah,
No, neither.
2020, but I don't know what the changes were that came in 2020.
I could ask Brad what that is when I come in to ask him about this other thing.
Yeah, there must have been something on the ballot, right? So,
Must have been. Okay, I'll ask Brad what the 2020 amendment was.
Yeah, I guess, I don't quite get it. How does it affect the Underhill regulation? Well, an amendment would, I'm guessing. Just as it said. Well, anyway.
All right.
Number 5, PRDs and ADUs.
But do we have regulations for PRDs in our bylaws anywhere? Where, can we look at those? Because I'm really, I was,
oh, they're confusing.
yeah, so,
It's an
because somebody was asking me about that the other day. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, I don't, I know a few of them haven't
Plan
done
of
it.
rural development.
Yeah, right,
Yeah,
where you have smaller lot sizes, but you leave open land
yeah.
for everybody else to use. There's one up on Maple Leaf Road and then, I don't know if there are any other ones.
Where is it in here?
The new development in Underhill Flats is considered a PRD.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Where is it? Is it, oh, planned unit development? Article 9, 166. It's a
Basically,
substantial section.
clustering the development.
Yeah, right, have smaller lots and then 166.
Well, I think you can,
So their question here is, should an ADU follow the same regulations in a PRD as they do in just a one lot, basically?
well, let's see.
166.
So the question that Penny brought here is, can a PRD get an accessory dwelling at a later date? Does it need to follow accessory dwelling dimensional requirements through the original PRD? As was able to waive dimensional requirements because of the nature of the PRD. Setbacks, question mark, perhaps distance from primary dwelling, question mark. I don't see that that's, a question. If there's, the primary dwellings within a PRD are, they are primary dwellings, and a primary dwelling is allowed to have an accessory dwelling unit. I don't see what
The trick is,
Well, in a PRD,
the houses are gonna be closer
Yeah.
together. So you have, a big piece of property, and instead of 1 acre lots, in the flats, for example, you have all the homes clustered here. So that if you put an ADU on, it's gonna be a lot closer
to everybody else.
to everybody else.
Yeah,
It's
it's-
sort of like a village, basically.
Yeah.
It seems to me that when they do a PRD, when it's a subdivision, the DRB does a PRD or PUD, whatever it's called. They'll do the subdivision, and then maybe when they do each particular subdivision, they'll say, you can't have an accessory, a detached ADU.
Can't do that. That's against the Vermont regulations.
It is.
So
Okay,
Vermont regulations say if you've got a primary dwelling, you're allowed an accessory dwelling.
but it can't be, so then they could say, okay, well, when they do the PRD, they could say, an ADU has to meet the setback requirements of, well, I mean, in an ADU, the lot sizes are like 3 acres or 4 acres typically, right? I know the one up on Wheeler Road there it's 4 acres, there's 3 or 4 acre lots that are surrounded by 80 acres of common land. But that's the only one in
Yeah, if you think of the one in Underhill Flats, it maybe makes more sense.
Yeah.
Because you have 1 acre zoning that you're not following 1 acre zoning.
Right.
You're pushing the homes closer together. So, any kind of additional structure is gonna be,
right on top of the neighbor.
there won't be adequate setback likely. you
Right.
know.
So when the DRB spell that out in their, when they do their, decision, when they say you can't, the PRD needs to meet setbacks of X, you'd have to create setbacks for a PRD. Did they do that with yours?
Well, we haven't finished yet.
Yeah.
One thing they do require is you have this big property, you have to in some way show that you could put all of these homes on the whole acreage. So in other words, if you had a big pond,
Oh, where you couldn't actually put a house.
you could never put a house there.
Yeah.
So they want you to, but I don't, it didn't make a lot of sense to me,
This is outside.
why you would want to, yeah.
This is outside anything that I can comprehend right now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sort of with David. I think, not to oversimplify, but I think it may not matter for our purposes because the state rule is really clear.
Mhm.
Like, I don't think, even if they allow the PRD, then every house in that PRD is allowed an ADU.
Yeah.
Because it says, not to keep quoting what David's quoting, but a bylaw shall require a single-family dwelling with an ADU to be subject to the same review, dimensional or other controls as required for a single-family dwelling without an ADU. So if they allow the PRD with single-family homes, then everyone's allowed an ADU.
If you have a setback.
If you can meet all the rules with the single-family dwellings, right? If you can't meet thank you, Bart. If you can't meet the setback because it's physically impossible, then you're stuck.
I wonder if they've addressed that with Act 250, because I know with Act 250, you have to have a specific plan once your permit's approved, so you would have to have the ADU already approved and shown on your permit
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
if it was under that jurisdiction.
Hmm.
That's kind of a bigger development.
Yes. I don't know.
Less likely to apply.
Well, what you were referring to earlier, Laura, with in the prime rural development, the setbacks are not going to be the same.
They're going to be,
And then you're going to have an accessory structure, that's going to be, I don't know what the regulations would be.
what would the
for that.
setback be? Because there are no setbacks for a PRD because it's specific to just that one subdivision, right?
Yeah, right.
So,
There still are setbacks.
yeah.
I mean, you don't have to have, 1 acre lots, but you still have to have distance from each house.
They don't give you
That's
different
setbacks.
setbacks. They give
Yeah,
you the setbacks for the
setbacks
district.
work. But if you were to put an ADU on there, chances are you wouldn't be able to.
Wouldn't have room, right? Okay.
So it becomes an irrelevant.
Well,
So what is the
Okay.
question here?
yeah, so I just thought it was a pretty cut and dried question or answer. And the question was, should an ADU be allowed with a PRD or is there, whatever, anyway, I think they have to be.
Yeah, there's no change.
Yeah.
It's already addressed.
And
Unless they don't meet the
Right.
qualifications.
Yeah, so,
well,
anything further on
That's-
that? Move on?
that'd be a good question for Charlie, because he would, I mean, or anybody on the DRB, I mean,
Well, just think of this though, think of all the homes in Underhill Center, Underhill Flats, the old ones, they're already close together.
Right.
Right? But maybe in the back, they could put an ADU,
yeah,
so they can do it.
right, yeah.
And it's not really that different when you think about clustered homes in a planned rural development.
Mm.
You know, it's just that they're new.
Right, so maybe we should say that in PRDs, the DRB should come up with setbacks for accessory structures and accessory dwelling units.
Well,
No,
they
we
have to come up
have
with
them.
They have to come up
They
with a
have to
regular.
still
Yeah, but if it's
follow
setback.
these.
Yeah, but so you're doing a PRD with 3-acre lots but it's in the 10-acre zone, right? Does it have to follow those setbacks? Okay,
Yeah,
all right, that's good enough for me.
Yes.
Does everybody understand that?
that's the way we're
Yeah,
Would
operating.
a PRD have to do that, or would a PRD relax those requirements? I'm not so sure that they would have to follow those.
Well-
Some of the setbacks are quite a lot.
Does everybody understand this? I
I think so, unless I'm oversimplifying it in my head and I don't actually understand it.
because,
Where are you getting tangled up? Because maybe I'm not understanding
well,
it. and I
if you
think I am.
do a PRD in the scenic preservation, that's 15 acres, right? And the setbacks,
Like Jack.
Can't do a
Jack-
PRD, you can't do a PRD in the scenic preservation?
oh, you can't? Oh, what? Well, in a 10-acre zone.
You can't, it's only allowed in the flats, village center, and rural residential. I only know that because I just was looking at.
Oh, well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
So rural residential is, what, 5 acres or 3 acres?
It's in the more dense district.
Okay. So you can only do a PRD okay. Wow, that's good to know.
Well, I only know that because I was trying to look at these while you guys were, I was less familiar with them.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay, any further questions about that?
I think I understand it. Maybe. maybe I
That
don't.
simplifies everything.
That helps.
Yeah, that simplifies everything for me, because if you're doing a PRD and it's in the 5-acre or the 3-acre zone, then you have to follow the setbacks for that
Correct.
neighbor.
I believe that's correct.
Okay, yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay.
That's fine. So you can get caught up on that.
All right.
Other
Okay.
things here.
Okay. Okay, so no changes basically to the statement there that I've made? or-
Nope.
Is that all just for me?
Yep.
Okay. 6, access. This has to do with ADUs trigger development road upgrade requirements. Okay. So development road upgrade requirements appear to be necessary when an additional dwelling unit is added. Question, should we recommend to the select board that the road ordinance explicitly allow ADUs with no road upgrade requirement? That's an idea that I'm just throwing out.
I just went through this at my house,
Oh, yeah?
because my neighbor
Yeah.
built a house and I share the driveway with him.
Yeah.
And I'll keep it short. Then he put an ADU in the basement, but he didn't get a permit, so he was selling the house. He gets the permit, and the zoning administrator at the time gave him the occupancy permit to the seller of the house. Or no, to the buyer of the house, but he didn't say you have to upgrade the road to 20 feet because it serves 3 properties now. Or
3 dwellings.
yeah, the shared part of the road had to be upgraded from 12 to 4, it's a 14-foot road. It had to be upgraded to a 20-foot road because there's there were 3 dwellings on it.
Mhm.
So the guy who bought the house had to pay to get the road upgraded.
Mhm.
Because the zoning administrator signed off on it as just a 14-foot
Yeah.
road. So it was like, it was kind of a little bit of an issue.
So this is the question, you know, should we recommend to them to allow ADUs without a road upgrade?
I think you should upgrade the road, because if you're putting 3 houses on a shared road, it has to be a 20-foot wide road. If you're putting 2 houses on a road, it needs to be a 14-foot wide road,
That's
okay?
what the regs say.
Yeah, and then 1 house is 12 feet, so I think it should be
Is this
upgraded
for passing cars or is
for fire trucks.
Fire
yes,
truck.
Because all of a sudden you have another unit. It's in the house, but if it's a separate unit, it's like 3 houses on the, on the shared road, so
Well, I don't know, fire truck can go on both of the types of roads.
So you're referring to the situation when there's 3, what if you're just adding just 1 dwelling? It only applies if it's 3,
yeah, like your road, you're building another, well, you're building another house on your road, up to that new house has to be upgraded to a 14-foot wide road. If he decided to put an ADU in with this house, if he got the permit for that and he was going to proceed with that, that section of road would have to be 20 feet
Right,
wide.
if he did or if I did. Either
Yeah, right,
way,
exactly.
it's a shared driveway.
Yeah.
So you just keep bumping up basically.
Yeah. It's like, however, if the road serves more than 3 or more properties, it has to be 20 feet
Mhm.
up to the three of the properties, and then where it splits off to 1, it goes back to
Right.
12 feet.
Uh-huh.
So, but I think we should just stick with that because this seems logical to me, but
Mhm.
I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I don't know. Driving some of the roads down around the lake, some of these private roads, they're really narrow. They're probably 14 feet wide. There are maybe 20 or 30 houses on them. They get by okay.
Yeah, but that's
I'm not
we used
saying
to
we
do
should
things.
necessarily do that, but I mean, that's just an extreme example. People manage, and it's, we can ask for super highways, we can ask for all the expensive things that are all very nice and so on, and just up the cost of housing in Underhill.
Yeah, every time you do something like that,
Yeah.
it costs more.
I am torn. I'm tempted to agree with you, David, actually. Like, I sort of don't, it's not obvious to me why that should be an impediment to putting in an EDU, but where I do get caught up, I have to be honest, is Roy's argument is like, I guess I'm torn because Roy's point is like, well, if the rule is you gotta have this size road for 3 houses, why is an ADU any different if it's a 3rd house? And I'm like, yeah, good point. Like, how do you get past that? Like, why is it any different? I can't get past that.
Well, the ADU is smaller, so there are less people in it.
It's only one
Yeah,
bed.
but it still could have 2 cars or
Yeah,
2 people.
I don't think that's a big deal myself.
I think you designed it for that with like a pull-off so you could pass.
Yeah.
Usually, but seems like that would be less impact than, long driveway, having to go and upgrade the whole driveway.
Is that what it's about, passing? You think is that why the road?
Number of cars.
That makes sense to me.
There's fire access as well.
It seems like we would be going backwards if we did that.
If we
You
did
know,
one,
If we eliminated.
Forward, backwards, wait a minute now. I've been better and better and better, more and more and more expensive.
Yeah, but, okay, so you do a PRD with
Yeah.
3 or 4 houses on it, okay? Is that just gonna have a 14 or 12 or 14-foot wide road on that, or should it be 20 feet for those 4 houses?
Well, those are 4 primary dwellings, so they have to
Yeah.
follow the regulations, but an ADU is a smaller unit.
So there's-
well, agreed. I don't know if the people count though. I just use me as an example. Like, someone could easily have 1,000-foot. I think our house is 1,700 feet. I think someone could easily have 1,000-foot ADU with like 2 kids.
Yeah.
And my house is just my wife and I, and then a bunch of critters, but people-wise, we're driving.
I
So,
know,
but I think your point is probably right overall.
it's an overall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And an
Except-
ADU, the whole point of it is to try to increase housing at a lower cost, right?
Yeah, and I think the concept's already, I think, is expensive for somebody to develop just a one-bedroom unit, and then you're adding all these other costs. And I think it's gonna be, you're gonna be hard pressed to make a return that's gonna incentivize people to build these things
With the road.
with.
Well, on top of everything
General, they're really so expensive.
Do you feel
Yeah,
strongly
and
about this?
also,
Or
it's also,
What's that?
do you feel strongly about this? Having,
Uh,
like living with, you just think there's a lot more traffic with the ADU and you're,
It'll be.
no, I mean, do
confusing.
you run into people?
Yeah, no,
more
no,
often,
I
or-
don't, but I think that it's, like, I think of this other development on Beartown that I built a couple houses on where they had to upgrade the road to 20 feet, where because there were, all of a sudden, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 houses and an ADU on it. And in that situation, so it seemed appropriate to
Yeah.
have a big road entering before these other 3 roads split off to the other houses. It seemed appropriate to me.
well, suppose you're in a situation where the access to to properties at the back end of the road, are on a road that it's defined as being, for 2 houses or whatever. And then you have some ADUs on the back there. A guy in the back would like to put an ADU in, but the guy in the front owns the property, actually, the right of way that is allowed for the property in the back is too small to have a road improvement. So,
So be it.
that's what you can't do. You can't do an
No, you
ADU.
can pay for it. You upgrade the road. I mean, it's the law. It's a law now. I don't see why. I think it would be going backwards if we were to just eliminate it. I think actually.
What do you think, Bert?
I think it's fine the way it is.
Meaning, if you have 3, then you gotta go to the next number up, or the 20 or whatever. Nope.
And it depends a lot, like in Roy's situation, the shared part of your driveway is really a short distance.
Yeah, it's like
So
Tiny.
50,
So-
30 feet or 50 feet.
why
40
upgrade it, you know? But in my situation, where I got 3/10 of a mile of driveway, and
Right,
it's steep,
right.
and you put another home there, and it's fun. So,
Well, I guess in some ways, just showing how conflicted I am, like, particularly if you had an ADU used as an Airbnb or something where there were tourists going down, just because I've been on your road one time for the trail day, like, it's, yeah, you'd have maybe, you could argue there would be more traffic and it'd be trickier, like, potentially, I don't know.
and
if
you
that
have
makes
short
sense.
sight distance and 12% grades.
Yeah,
And so you definitely want to have a wider driveway.
right.
Well, would that mean that you would not be able to put an ADU in your place? Or-
I think you'd have to upgrade the road.
Upgrade the road to 14 feet,
Which would
which is
cost,
not a big deal.
well, it would cost money,
Oh, yeah.
which is
More than
fine.
100.
If that's what you have to-
3 times as much as the ADU.
Right.
No, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
You gotta see the road.
How do you feel about it?
I'm not really a road person, and, anytime you expand the road, you're, say it's a long road, that just means, encroaching further and further into whatever's there, and it's an expense that I don't think it's needed.
What if we did this, just as a compromise? What if I said to Brad, hey, Penny brought this up. We see the pluses and minuses, differing opinions on the planning commission, but the probably worth having the road commission dig into this.
Yeah.
Punt it-
Make the decision.
Punt it to the
anyway.
experts, basically.
They aren't gonna see what we see,
Yeah. What do you think?
that-
What do you think? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. What do you think, Tim?
I was all right with not upgrading it.
You're all right with not upgrading?
Right.
I mean, it's pretty it's pretty split, right? Like, that's why I'm curious. It'd be interesting to throw it to the roads committee. I mean, I would present it like the two competing arguments, basically, right? Like, if you don't have to upgrade them, it encourages ADUs.
Maybe
Flip
this
side
is,
if you don't have to upgrade them, there are situations, 12% grade, et cetera, where maybe you run into some trouble.
Well, who
So,
knows?
like, what does the road commission think?
It's probably emergency access, is the main point.
maybe this is a state regulation. It's
Well, let me,
point,
Right.
you know, and
No, I
because
don't
I was reading going to the next, you don't think it is?
No, I don't think the state doesn't get into private roads.
Well, but it's not a private road. It's a shared road.
That's a private road,
It's not a town.
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I was just reading the decision on the wedding barn, and they had to have a 30-foot. And
Yeah.
a 30-foot right. I think that's what I read.
Well,
A
that may be-
30-foot
Yeah,
road for
That's
a
a-
wedding barn, okay?
right. So that's a specific commercial operation, so.
yeah,
The
with
state
lots
gets
of
involved in that.
traffic and.
Coming and going.
Yeah.
And I think they're thinking that you might have an emergency vehicle
Mm.
necessary during an event. Like somebody has a heart attack, so you have to get an ambulance.
Yeah, and imagine if people had parked on the side of the road for some reason, and then you gotta get an ambulance or fire truck.
It's
Right.
a snowstorm, somebody's coming down, somebody's off the road.
I get that one. Well, how about if I talk to Brad about this and circle back? How's
Yeah.
that sound? Okay.
You have to, the fire department, of course, they want nice fancy roads everywhere.
Lined with gold,
can't
roads
wreck 'em.
everywhere.
Okay, I'll move on number 7.
I love your comment on this, David. I just want to get that in there for the record. I think not.
Yeah. What's your opinion, David?
Do I have an opinion?
No, that's all right. I got opinions too. A lot of them.
Okay, number 7, number of ADUs, more than one ADU per primary dwelling. No, I don't think so.
I mean,
Myself, I think it's clear at this point.
I agree with you. Does anyone disagree with that statement?
No.
I don't think we should have them.
There you go. I think that's a tricky road to go down.
Okay, so, and then the last one was a conversion of accessory structure. And this is another
What did she
question that I
say?
don't know what she's.
Is that, maybe that's coming back to the setback issue?
No, I don't
What if
know.
there's
It
this-
says conversion of accessory structure, parenthesis barn, parenthesis to an ADU.
It's
More clarity
Fancy barn.
needed. I'm not sure.
close to the property line.
Yeah, if it's a pre-existing barn that's 100 years old and it's 10 feet from the property line,
Yeah.
maybe that's what she's talking about.
Yeah, I think our clarified new zoning bylaws would
Address that.
address.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we
We'll find
mentioned
those.
that as a non-conforming structure needing a conditional permit for an ADU, but it's not entirely forbidden.
Yeah.
Well, we'll dig those up.
I'm curious about that.
Digging those up.
Well, that's, you got to have right on the order.
Yeah.
So,
I have a question that may not be germane, but if you're subdividing and you've got the barn, you're subdividing the farm and you got the barn, do you have to consider the setback of the barn to where the subdivision line is going to be?
Good question.
I would have.
you have to change the boundary line that you, subdivision you're thinking
Yeah,
in order to accommodate that?
yeah, do you have to have an offset 15 or 25 feet or whatever it is?
I would think so.
I would assume so.
If it's with your neighbor though.
If you could. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's
Maybe
your
you-
land that you're subdividing,
Yeah.
I would think the barn would have to meet, the barn was going to, I don't know though, I'm speculating.
I'm speculating too.
You would be creating a non-conforming situation, so you can't do that.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Okay.
Right.
That's probably,
So you couldn't have, and if you couldn't actually create the two lots without entering into a non-conforming situation, You can't do the lots.
What if it's already now I'm just curious though, if it's already non-conforming, let's say you have like 20 acres and you could do 210s.
Yeah.
But because of where the barn was built, it's non-conforming to the neighbor's property line, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you subdivide it, you can't fix it. Could you still subdivide it and have one conforming lot and one non-conforming lot, because it was sort of already
You can't increase
non-conforming?
the non-conformance, but
Yeah.
that wouldn't be doing it.
I don't think you're increasing it,
That would
right?
not be increasing it, right? So I would think
You
so.
cannot make it more non-conforming.
Right, but it's already not.
If it's already non-conforming, if you wanted to build a garage on a non-conforming lot, or add on to your garage, you can't make it more non-conforming by moving closer.
What if you had a
What you're
20
saying
acre?
is, one is, we're saying the barn is non-conforming.
Right.
The lot is not non-conforming.
Right.
If the lot itself is non-conforming, that's a different situation.
Here's a question. What if you had the one lot, and this is ridiculous hypothetical. What if you had one lot, 20 acres, and on each opposite side, you had a non-conforming, a structure that was violating the setback. So you have one lot with two non-conforming structures. Could you subdivide it? So now you have two lots, each of which has a structure that violates the setback.
You're doubling.
I think we need to get some help. We need to drink a few
Is
beers.
that more non-conforming?
You've doubled it.
You could make,
Non-conformance.
No, it's
Yeah.
not more.
Would those structures be grandfathered?
that's the question. I don't know.
Hey, can we look at,
That's what my lawyer would argue.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like a lawyer one, right? You can argue either way.
Should we do wedding,
Well, let's
Event
start,
venues.
let's start event venues.
just.
We have 10 minutes.
Okay.
I can get through the first two because they're easy, I think.
Yeah.
So page 8, I'm just saying on the chart, we obviously need to add a line for event venue. I mean, I think that's non-controversial. Obviously, they should be listed along with everything else.
Yeah.
And I think it's conditional in rural residential water conservation and scenic preservation, prohibited in flats and center. That's what we had talked about as a group before, unless I got something wrong. Make corresponding changes to each district on pages 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, and 24. All that means is when you look at each one of the districts, it lists things that are permitted in conditional uses. So we should just add them in along with everything. Okay, right? Yeah. So I think that's not controversial. Page 43, the probably one part that's totally not controversial and one that people are going to have opinions on. It should clearly be added to the parking chart, right? Along with everything else, just add it to the parking chart. I made up this number with absolutely no math behind it. I was just trying to think about how many people might be in a car that would come to an event. And I took a total guess, which was one car per every 3 occupants, page 43.
Well, if you read, if you read the,
Oh yeah, I'm just going from the top, David. There's,
No,
No, that's
it's,
not it. Change of intent. Oh,
yeah, he just had.
I handed it out at the beginning. Did you get one, David?
no. I guess I didn't.
No, that's my fault then. I thought
If I did, it's lost in the shuffle of papers.
sorry, it has
That
a,
happens.
it has a fold in it now. It has a fold in it now. Yeah.
if you read this decision here for the one they just approved.
Yeah, what did they do there?
They had 5 cars, or 5 people for each car. That's what the DRB.
So
came
one
up
parking spot per every 5, not 3.
with.
is
Yeah,
what
that's
you're
what
saying
they
just
came up
did.
with here, so
Well, I
I
have
would
no
assume
reason.
that's
I just
why.
made up the 3.
Yeah, I mean, 3 sounds more reasonable than 5. Who the hell's gonna go somewhere with 5 people in their car?
No, not me.
Yeah, me neither.
Well, we could make it 3 if people think 3 is a better number, but I just want to disclaim, like, I did not do a bunch of research or anything. I just kind of thought about how many people usually go in a car. When we go to a wedding, probably you get some 2s, some 4s.
So it's a 53.
Yeah, page 43. Yeah. So these are just administrative, up until there, David, like I said, that is all just administrative changes, adding it to where it needs to be added.
Yeah.
The first substantive thing is like, on this parking chart, clearly we should add event venues as a thing. That's not controversial. The question is, how many spots per blank? And I was saying 1 spot per 3 people of occupancy, but I made that number up, and that was my reasoning. So
Well,
If
three
people
sounds
feel differently.
more reasonable than 5.
Sure does.
Yeah,
But I don't know why they came up with 5, so that.
Probably because you have to have fewer parking spots.
Yeah, it's cheaper. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's a big parking lot. That's 50 spots.
I will say the problem now, is this a problem? I'm thinking out loud. There's really only, now that they've done this and said 5,
Right.
well, now we've got
It's
this that's
precedent.
5.
Yeah.
So then we just have to go with 5?
So now they're writing this zoning. regs.
It's a little,
That would be a question for them.
feels a little crazy to make it 3 now that they've got 5 over
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, right.
Where's 5?
It's a decision the DRB made.
Oh.
It's from the DRB decision on the event venue in Pleasant Valley.
Oh.
I mean, there's no way Squaw Betty meets any of these rules as a side thing, so I'm not sure we can, probably need to talk to Brett about that. They don't have hardly any parking, I don't think.
Well, I guess it depends if we're
So this one up the road here,
grandfathering in.
Yeah.
cases or not.
this one was in the Mountain Mansfield Scenic Preservation District. Oh, we're allowing it in that district.
Yeah, it's not allowed in the dense districts, it is allowed everywhere else.
General regulations, access.
So they said 5.
I think I read that. Parking, the individual parking spaces are noted as gravel and 9 feet wide, 19 feet long. Okay, so let's say 150 people is the maximum that they applied for. We at 200, right?
I didn't actually address that in this because you had said that maybe we should be a little more general, so there might be I'm sure there's stuff I missed in here and things people disagree with. This is just a first draft.
So their permit was, does that begin with the number of people that are expected and then work down to the number of cars?
All right,
Is that how it works?
let's read, can I read something to you? Parking requirements indicate public assembly use requires parking space per 5 seats of capacity, which translates to 30 parking spaces. So that must be
It's
all
interesting.
for the town, or for
They-
the state, or,
They used public assembly under the regs,
yeah, there's public assembly use.
which has a parking rule, a parking limit attached to it on the chart on page 43.
Oh, yes. It's in capital letters.
Some capital.
Wow, the light bulb just went
It's
off.
interesting though that they're calling this,
Square feet.
what's interesting to me is they're
It's
calling it a public assembly.
like a church or a
Yeah, well, that's one way to go. You know, you have a facility that's a certain size and you could fit a certain number of people. But you still have to divide it by 5 or 3, right?
Yeah.
But still, you almost never see 5 people in one vehicle.
Never, ever.
So, but if they're going with a number of people, they're probably trying to be a little liberal with the parking and not make it too severe.
For sure. That had to be what they were doing.
Yeah.
What's interesting is public assembly is not really defined well in these regs, so.
The 5 sounds like a better number to go with, actually, because if you go with the lower number, that means you're gonna have to prepare parking areas for that much more, many more cars, which is more gravel and.
Yeah,
less,
true.
We limit the hours in here, once a weekend for 6 months.
I have it way tighter than that. So everyone can read through these and decide what you hate and what you like and what you think is missing, just because it's 728. And then we can discuss next time, but these are probably tighter than what they did, is my guess. I looked for noise, I just looked at what other towns did and copied that. in terms of hours and stuff, I just took our notes from other meetings and tried to come up with what I thought might be the consensus, but I probably guessed wrong.
No, I think that was good. That was
So,
similar to what they came up with here.
Yeah, oh, is it? I
Yeah,
did
it
not
was-
look at that, I should have.
Yeah, it's 2022. It's the Fuller.
No, you told me about it, I meant to look at it and then I forgot.
Conditional use review application for Mary and James Fuller. So if you go to the town website, you go to DRB and then you click on 2022 and it'll be the Fuller decision was what, it seems to be a pretty good. See, what you came up with is
Oh.
not too far off.
Well, I'll look at that. So maybe everyone can review go
Yeah,
ahead.
just a small suggestion that you have your name on it and the date, so that as changes come along,
Oh, yeah, I'll add that.
you know, the thing is also, like, this is gonna sit on my desk with a whole bunch of other papers, and I'm gonna look at it in the week and say,
Yeah,
where did that come from?
I'll
Did
add,
that come from the DRB, or did that come from here?
I'll add it to the new version. That's a good comment.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, of course.
Cool.
All right, good meeting, everyone. You give us 5 stars.
Right.
If no one has anything else, does anyone have anything else?
I don't.
Someone want to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you, Bart. Is there a second? All in favor?
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.